Hey guys, it's DT and welcome to a very interesting video here on the channel. So I'm here with my buddy Thanos and today I'm going to be giving him a makeover. So this is the Queen Studios life-size Thanos bust that I reviewed on EvanTube HD. If you guys haven't seen that video, make sure to check it out. So one of the things I mentioned on that video was that his complexion was a little bit dark. It wasn't really enough to bother me too much. I just took it as maybe this was the summertime Thanos where he was out in the sun doing some sunbathing. However, for some collectors, this was a big issue and there's actually some controversy on what to do about it. Did some people get lighter versions and some people get darker versions? So we're gonna try and fix that today. So my buddy Craig over on his channel, Half Fast Reviews, did a really nice video on how things can look different depending on the lighting conditions. There's different light intensities, different lighting colors. There's a lot of different camera settings that can change the exposure of an image. And then there's the other side which says that no, definitely this guy is way too dark. So after getting this piece, I think there's justification in both sides. Thanos is definitely a little bit on the darker side. And for the other side, I think that some people do use insufficient lighting or were basing their opinions on underexposed images. So today we have Thanos here. I have the camera properly white balanced. I think the exposure is correct. Now one thing about Thanos is that his armor here is a little bit shiny depending on the angle of the light. So it's very difficult to expose for his skin tone without overexposing his armor. So today we're going to be making him a little bit lighter with these tools right here. Now this is something that I saw on Facebook. I haven't actually seen somebody do it. I've just seen them talk about it. So this is going to be interesting for me. Basically, we are just putting this baby powder right here and applying a thin coat over his skin. They said this was actually something recommended by Queen Studios. Since his skin is made out of silicone, it does kind of sweat. And one of the explanations that I've heard was that some of these Thanos pieces that were shipped at a later time were sitting in a warehouse during the whole lockdown, and it was hot, it was humid, and basically that humidity was causing the silicone to sweat and bring out some of the darker tones, I guess. So the people that got them later got a darker Thanos than the people that got them earlier. So basically we're going to be taking away some of that shine, just as if you were an actor in a movie or a play and you apply powder to your face to kind of get rid of those specular areas. So I'll focus the lens on Thanos. So I won't touch the camera, I won't touch the lighting, and that way we can compare the two images side by side in a very controlled manner. So let's get to work. So one of the tricky things about this is that Thanos here has a helmet on and it cannot be removed. So we're gonna have to try and get in some of those nooks and crannies. His skin is silicone, so it does move a little bit. You can kind of wiggle his nose there. So what I have right here, this is a standard little makeup wedge. This is probably gonna do the trick for the most part. And then I have this makeup brush that I usually use for dusting, and we can get in some of those little nooks and crannies. So apparently Queen Studios actually recommends doing this every once in a while, and that's gonna help with this sweating here. Depending on the humidity where you live, the more humid, the more it's gonna sweat. Now some people might like that sweaty look, others might not. So here we're gonna sprinkle on some powder. So any extra powder that we get on the other parts of Thanos, we can easily just brush off with our makeup brush. So I'm starting off by using the sponge to put a light coat of powder on the left side of Thanos' face. And as soon as we put on a little powder, we can see that his complexion is getting a bit lighter. Of course, he will get a little bit darker once we brush off some of the excess. And as I mentioned before, it's okay if you get some of that powder on his helmet or other parts of the statue, as you can just brush it off pretty easily. So I'm going heavy around his eyes, trying to get in all those little crevices. And now I am doing the right side. And one thing I noticed about this material is that you need to put a lot of light on it in order to get the proper skin tone. So if you have this in a dimly lit room, it's gonna look a little bit dark. The material seems to want to absorb a lot of the light rather than reflect it. And that's one of the things the powder is helping do, is reflect that light. So now I'm using the brush. I found it easier to get in some of those cracks and in the areas behind the helmet. You just kind of paint it on, and then you can actually use the same brush to kind of brush it off. So this is about 2 coats right now. As you can see, with each coat he gets a little bit whiter, and I'm guessing you could keep going but he might come off looking a little bit gray. He does lose some of that saturation each time. Right now he's looking really white. So after about 3 coats, I took the bigger brush to wipe off the excess powder. And then I went in there and added some more and then brushed it off again. And as you can see with these before and after pictures, there is a night and day difference. Now I'm thinking over time, Thanos will start getting darker again. We'll have to repeat the process, but it wasn't very difficult. So if you have a similar situation with your silicone bust, this is definitely something you can try out. Okay guys, so here we have it, the new and improved Thanos. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Should he be lighter than this? Should he be darker? If you think he's still too dark, you can always put on more coats of powder. So thanks for watching, and to end this video, I'll leave you guys with my Thanos display.